Hey, hello, and welcome or welcome back. I haven't posted a tutorial in a little while because I've been working on a game for a game jam and submitted that, and they'll judge that next week. But I'm done with that game, so I thought I'd put another tutorial out there, because you guys deserve it. You know what I'm saying? All right, so tank treads, that's what we're talking about here. Okay, and as you can see, I got two sets of tank treads here in Unity. And an invisible tank in between them, holding them right here. Just an empty game object holding these treads. Okay, that's the left set of treads, and that's the right side. And if you're asking why there's two, because we have this one and this one. One, its material. Uh, let's see, which one is this? Its material renders the front face. Okay, and then this one, its material renders the back face. That way we could see both sides because I know you can do both, okay, with URP, but um, that doesn't work here. I can actually show you, but let me show you actually what we're going to do and what you can see as far as this goes. Okay, so here's our tank treads on the ground. Um, if I go forward, I do that. I go backwards, do that. If I turn, you can notice one goes forward and one goes backwards, like a tank should turn. Forward and back. Okay, now let me show you why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. So like this one, if I take that out so you can't see those faces, okay, and I go back to the material that's just showing the front, and now I show both. All right. So don't worry about this one. We'll worry about this one because, as a matter of fact, we'll take this one and turn it off. All right. So now we're showing just the one tread rendering both back and front faces. You see what's going on here? Notice how it's like rendering the bottom back faces in front of the front faces. Yeah. So that's why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. All right. That's why you have two sets of treads. But it's not really a problem because very low poly. If you look in Bender, yeah. If you look in Blender, I made this. The treads we're seeing here, they're real basic. Okay. And I made a seam right here for the UVs, right? Because what we're doing is scrolling a texture on a material, in essence, is all we're doing. Okay, so what happens is to for it to look right, you need to have those UVs unwrapped straight across from this side of the seam all the way around to this side of the seam in a straight line, so that the texture can scroll along it the way it should. Right, and as you can see in Blender, right, with my seam there, this is the UV setup. Okay, so that's how I did that, and as you can see, it's very basic, but looks good in here, I think, And did I take both off? Yeah, I got to put that back to front. Okay, so that's what we're doing. And again, we're just scrolling a texture along these tank treads. Okay, and the texture uses alpha. That's why you can see in between all the tank tread parts. Makes it looks very real. I'll show you the texture if you want here. Unity, and actually let's go into where it is. images, I think. Yeah. Okay, so this is the tank tread. Okay, and as you can see, the image has alpha in between like all this stuff and transparency. So that makes it look really good. And you don't have to have like I've noticed a lot of models like tanks and stuff that you would get from Turbo Squid or CD Trader or whatever. They have these treads built onto the model, but each tread is just unbelievably overloaded with faces and vertices, and because they gotta do all this stuff. And it's not necessary, as you can see, because all you gotta do to make a really good looking tank tread, in my opinion, is scroll the texture. And depending on what keys are pressed and stuff, they know when to scroll backwards or forwards. Like right now it's moving forward, so they're scrolling that way, and now moving backwards, scrolling that way, and then to the left, to the right, it knows where to scroll. So let's look at the code real quick. All right, scroll manager, here we go. So this scroll manager script is on each tread, okay? Scroll image, yeah, scroll image, I'm sorry. Scroll image script is on each tread. All right, so it's on the outer one, the inner one, okay, and the same with down here. Now, this script, okay, uh, contains public float up top for the scroll speed Y, all right, and then it creates a public bool called left, all right, and I'll explain that in a minute, and a private renderer called rend, all right, and that's what you need to access the material so you can scroll the texture on it. And then in the start method, we set rend to get component renderer. And in the update, look how small this is. This is amazing. All we have to do is set a vector2 called offset and equal it to rend.material.main texture offset. Okay. And then I have some if statements checking to see what keys are pressed. So if the S key is pressed, you're going backwards, it's going to offset the Y coordinates of that texture on the material plus equals the scroll speed Y, which is what we've got up here. We've set that, and it's public, so you can change it in the inspector, times time, not delta time. And then it goes right through and checks S, W, A, and D. Okay. S and W is just moving forward and backwards. So if you're moving forward and backwards, then it simply scrolls it in that direction either way, both of them. But let's say if you want to turn, left by pressing the A key, all right, in this if statement here, we need to check to see if this bool left equals true or not, because when you're turning, one tread on one side will move in one direction, and on the other side of the tank, that tread will move in the opposite direction. So how a tank turns. So that's what that bool is for, left. So in the if statement that checks to see if the input is there for key A or whatever you use, inside that input check, if it is, we check to see if left is true. Because if it is, we're going to scroll it in this direction. Else, obviously left isn't true. If left is true, else, so left isn't true, we're going to scroll it in the opposite direction. Okay, this just makes it easier. You don't have to write two separate scripts for each side of the tank. Just a simple bool. So, and then it does the same thing for D. It checks if left is true, then move the offset dot Y right here. And else offset dot Y moves in the opposite direction. And then after all the checks, we set rend dot material dot main texture offset equals offset. Okay. And that's that. And really simple, really simple. And the tank itself, I just threw on this bot code I had because I wanted you to be able to see it moving around. And all it is declaring an audio source for the sound of the treads. And then this is like the simplest movement code you can get. It's a public float for speed, another one for rotation speed, and they're public so you can change them in the inspector. We get in the start method the sound equals get component audio source, and then in the update it just simply sets float move input to input.get access raw. And the raw is that we can use the keyboard or a gamepad or whatever. There's more than one inputs for this. And it checks to see if, the move input does not equal 0 or turn input does not equal 0. Then it checks that to see so we can play the sound. We know we're moving. If both of those are 0, the tank isn't moving and you shouldn't play the tread sounds of it moving, basically. But if one of them, that's what these two lines for, or. So if move input does not equal 0, if, you're pressing W or S or up or down on the gamepad, or with these two lines, the turn input does not equal 0. So you press an A or D or left or right of the gamepad. Either way, if the tank is moving, then it checks to see if the sound is playing. If exclamation park, I cannot talk today. Exclamation mark sound dot is playing. That's the shorthand version to check to see, if it's not playing. If exclamation mark uh, exclamation mark sound is playing, then it plays the sound. Okay, if it's not playing. Else, it stops the sound. So if you're moving along and all of a sudden you let go of the input, it cuts off the tank tread sound. And that's all that does. And then the movement is actually just a transform.translate vector 3.forward times the move input, which we got up here, times the speed times time.delta time. And the same thing for rotate, transform.rotate times the turn input times rotation speed. So yeah, that's all there is there. And again, this is what does the magic for the treads is that scroll image script, which is 36 lines long, not bad at all. And yeah, you just scroll the texture, and that's how it works. So I'll just play it here one more time. And yeah, you can change the speed of it in the inspector. Let's do that real quick so you can see. So let's go to this. Can I catch all these? So the scroll speed, let's change it to like 1. Let's change it to something crazy. 1, 1, 1, and 1. Okay, and now you'll see the speed change here. Yeah, look how fast that is. Not what you want, but you know. So that's that. And I mean, you could use this method for anything like an assembly line, um, moving along, or anything like that. Scrolling texture on the ground, you can put it on the ground, the ground scroll, but this is perfect in my opinion for a tank or tank tread. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it and liked it. And if you did, hit the like button. If you liked it, like it. That's simple enough, Help me out and like it and subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.